Good morning, students. Welcome to this next lecture on external characters of Scoliodon. So, Scoliodon, as we know that it is a shark type of fish. So, what are the external characters? How it appears? So, all these things we are going to study in this lecture. So, let us start with our today's lecture. External characters of Scoliodon. So body of Scoliodon, it is laterally compressed. It is spindle shape, as we have already said that it is well adapted for aquatic mode of life. So it is laterally compressed, it is a spindle shape, and it is tapering at both the ends. The dorsal surface of body is dark gray. That means upper or dorsal side of the body is dark gray, while the lower or ventral side is pale white. A full specimen that we store in laboratory, a full specimen measures about 60 centimeters in length, and the body is divisible into three parts. That means the entire body of the Scoliodon, it is divisible into three parts, that is head, trunk and tail. However, there is no distinct boundary as in diagram that is appearing on your screen. As you can see that in the diagram, there is no distinct boundary between head, trunk and tail, but still we can differentiate the body into three regions: head, trunk and tail. Let us see now one by one each part of external structure of Scoliodon. So first one is head. Now head is dorso-ventrally flattened and it protrude forward to form the snout. That means here in the diagram we can see the anterior protruded part of the head, which is labeled as a snout. The head bears five parts. It has five different parts. First one is mouth on the ventral side, then nares which are present on the snout, then external gill slits which are five in number, 1 to 5, and ampullary pores. So such five parts are present. Sorry, here I missed the eyes. So eyes are also present in the head region. So mouth, eyes, nares, then external gill slits and ampullary pores. So such five parts are present on the head region. Now let us describe one by one each part. First we start from the mouth. So mouth is a crescentric opening which is situated on the ventral surface of the head. In the diagram we can see it is a crescentric opening and it is situated on the ventral surface of the head. The diagram is shown from the ventral side. It is bounded by upper and lower jaws. So mouth is bounded by upper and lower jaw, or you can say mouth contain upper and lower jaw. The skin is folded over both the jaws to form the lips. That means the jaws are, you can say, covered or folded upon by a skin fold, which are called as lips, and these lips are immovable. In our case, we have movable lips. We can move our lips, but the lips which are present in the or the lips which is uh, covers the jaws in case of Scoliodon, they are immovable. Each jaw is provided, in diagram also we can see each jaw is provided with one or two rows of teeth. That means jaws are provided with teeth. The teeth in case of Scoliodon, they are replaced several times. We can note that here teeth, all the teeth of Scoliodon are similar. They are same in size, they are same in shape, even they are obliquely bent inward, and they are well adapted for you can say catching any prey. So whenever the Scoliodon it catches any prey through its jaws, the teeth which are obliquely present in the jaw, they fixed on the surface or on the body of the prey so that the prey cannot escape. So there are one or two rows of teeth which are present on the jaws. Now second part, that is nares. Here in diagram also we have labeled nares. Nares are nothing but the nares. So two concentric apertures, that means the nares, are present on the ventral surface of the snout anterior to the mouth. So here in the diagram, here is the mouth, and anterior to the mouth over the snout, these are two concentric openings, and these are referred as nares or uh, nostrils, or you can say nares. They are olfactory in function. That means the nares are olfactory in function. They are used for smelling because the internal nares are absent. So they cannot function as respiratory organ. Only they can function to smell. And third part, eyes. Two large circular eyes are situated on the side of the head. Here again in the diagram, here these are eyes, here also there is eye. So these eyes are large and circular, which are situated on the lateral side of the head. Eye is provided with upper and lower eyelid. Here in the diagram we can see, here is the upper eyelid, here is the lower eyelid. It is labeled upper and lower eyelid. So each eye is provided with upper and lower eyelid, which are merely the outgrowth of the skin, and these eyelids are movable. Here eyelids are movable. A nictitating membrane, again here in the diagram we have shown nictitating membrane. This is nictitating membrane, and this nictitating membrane, it lies along the anteroventral border of the eye and can be drawn over the eye during danger. That means this nictitating membrane can be drawn over the eye completely up. It covers the eye like this, just like a flap, or you can say just like a curtain. It covers the eye just like a spectacle. It covers the eye during danger region or during danger. The pupil is narrow. Here vertical pupil is there, which is narrow and vertical. Then next part is gill slits. So behind the eyes, on the either side of the head, as here in the diagram we can see, behind the eyes on the either side of the head are situated 5 vertical gill slits, which are also labeled as 1 to 5 external gill slits. These are externally present, so they are 1 to 5 vertical slits, which are called gill slits or branchial slits. These aperture inside or interiorly, they lead into gill pouches, and ultimately that gill pouch open into pharynx internally. So from external to internal, these gill slits are internally connected with pharynx. So what is the arrangement? The external gill slits, they open behind into gill pouches, and those gill pouches open inside into pharynx. So this is the arrangement in Scalodon body. Then last part of the head region, that is ampullary pores. So here in the diagram again we have shown the ampullary pores. These are ampullary pores, and these ampullary pores, they are in the form of very small group of minute openings or pores, which are called as ampullary pores, and these ampullary pores are the openings of specialized receptors, which are called as ampulla of Lorenzini. So these ampullary pore are the external openings of receptors, that is ampulla of Lorenzini. So this is about the head of Scalodon. Then regarding the trunk. So trunk is the thickest part of the body. Trunk, which is the major part of the body, it is the thickest part of the body. Anteriorly, it joins the head, and posteriorly, it joins the tail. At the junction of trunk and tail, on a ventral side, a cloacal aperture is present. So at the junction of trunk and tail, there is a cloaca near the anal fin. The trunk bears several fins. On the trunk, there are several fins. The fins are thin outgrowth of the skin, as we already seen in the general characters of Pisces, where we have said that the fins are the outgrowth of the skin. So here, in case of Scalodon, the fins are thin, flat outgrowth of the skin with muscles and are supported by cartilaginous rods, which are called as fin rays. There are two sets of fins, that is paired fins and unpaired fins. Unpaired fins are medial and paired fins are lateral in position. There is a single median fin which is called as first dorsal fin, also labeled in the diagram. It is the first dorsal fin which is present on mid dorsal side of the body. It lies on dorsal side and it is triangular in outline. We can see in diagram also the on the mid dorsal side the median dorsal fin is present, which is triangular in shape. There are two paired or lateral fins, that is the pectoral fin and the pelvic fin. There are two paired or lateral fins, pectoral fins and pelvic fins. The pectoral fins are situated anteriorly at pectoral region. Diagram also we have shown pectoral fins which are present on pectoral region behind the gill slits. And the pelvic fins are situated posteriorly on the either side of the junction of trunk and tail, and that encloses the cloacal aperture. So in the diagram we have shown the cloaca, and on the either side of the cloaca there are pelvic fins. In male Scalodon, each pelvic fin bears a stiff rod-like grooved copulatory organ. So here in the diagram we have shown these are the stiff rod-like and grooved copulatory organs of the male, which are present on inner edge. The groove is present on inner edge, and this type of rod-like structures are called as claspers. Here in the diagram, here it is clearly shown in the Scalodon. These are the claspers. These are stiff rod-like structures which are only found in male Scalodon. So called as claspers. These are male copulatory organs. Then the abdominal pores situated on small papillae are also present on either side of cloacal aperture. So here also abdominal pores are shown in the diagram which are present on either side of cloacal aperture. These pores open into coelomic cavity internally. And the last part of the body, that means last division of the body, that is tail. So as we already said that body is divisible to head, trunk and tail. So tail, so it is the posterior most part of the body behind the trunk, and it narrows down posteriorly. In the posterior region, it waves upward as a small angle. So in the diagram we have also seen that, we can also see that the tail is somewhat you can say bend upward in a small angle. This type of tail is called heterocercal tail, which is a bend upward. It is heterocercal tail. The tail bears median fin, unpaired fins. Three unpaired fins are present on the tail, that is second dorsal fin, the caudal fin and a ventral fin. The second dorsal fin, which is also called as posterior dorsal fin, it is also triangular but much smaller than the first dorsal fin, and it lies between first dorsal fin and caudal fin. So second dorsal fin, it is triangular, smaller in size than first dorsal fin, and it is present between first dorsal fin and caudal fin. The tail fin, or you can say caudal fin, it extends along the dorsal and ventral surface of the tail. That means the tail fin is much longer and it extends from dorsal surface up to ventral surface in the mid-ventral line and forms two lobes, one dorsal lobe and one ventral lobe. The dorsal lobe is called epicaudal lobe, which is very less developed. That means it is very thin and it is not more expanded. So it is less developed, while the ventral lobe is, or which is also called as hypocaudal lobe, it is very much well developed. There are shallow pits called caudal pits at the root of tail, both on dorsal and ventral side. And these presence of caudal pits, it is a peculiar character of Scalodon. So these are the characteristics of Scalodon type of fish only, the presence of caudal pits. The ventral fin is situated on mid-ventral line, almost opposite to the dorsal second dorsal fin. A faint line continuously on the either side of the body extend from tail up to head, or you can say afferent line on the lateral side extends from head up to tail region, and that is called as a lateral line. And this lateral line marks the position of underlying sensory structures, which include lateral line canal system, which contain sensory cells. Then in external feature, we also describe the skin of Sculdon. So now let us see uh, how the skin of Sculdon is made up. The skin, it forms the external covering of the body and performs numerous functions. Skin of the Sculdon is composed of two layers, epidermis and dermis. Dermis is also called corium. So firstly, we will see the epidermis. Epidermis is ectodermal in origin and consists of several layers. In diagram, we have also shown stratum germinatum, which is multi-layered. So epidermis is made up of several layers, which are made up of flat cells. The innermost layer has a cuboidal cell. The innermost layer in the diagram also, it is shown in the form of cuboidal cells. So it is called as Malpighian layer or germinativum. These cells rest on the basement membrane. The cells of outer layer become progressively flat, the outermost cell, they become progressively flat and keratinized toward the surface. But the stratum corium present in terrestrial vertebrate, it is not present in fish. In case of other vertebrates, there is a layer stratum corneum, but that stratum corneum is not present in case of fishes. Among the epidermal cells, numerous unicellular mucous glands are present. So in these epithelial cells, in between these epithelial cells, numerous mucous gland cells, that means small cells which are unicellular. So such unicellular gland cells are present which secrete mucus, and this mucus makes the body slippery. Whenever we try to catch the fish, it slips from our hand due to the mucus which is present over the skin. So it makes the skin slippery. Then second part of skin, that is dermis, the lower region of the skin, that is dermis. The dermis lies beneath the epidermis and it is composed of fibrous connective tissue with collagen fibers. So this dermis contain fibrous connective tissue with collagen fibers and various types of the cells. The dermis is differentiated again into two regions. The outer layer contain few loose fibers to form stratum laxum, outer layer. In the stratum laxum, the pigment cells are present. Here in the diagram, we can see this pigment cells, chromatophores here. So this much part is stratum laxum. These cells are branched and contain pigment granules. Here it is shown in the star shape, but generally these are branched and they store the pigment. The inner layers with compact fiber, here the lower layers which are having compact fiber forms the stratum compactum. So this lower one is stratum compactum and this upper one is stratum laxum. So you can say dermis is differentiated into two regions, stratum laxum upper part and lower part is stratum compactum. The blood capillaries, nerve fibers and muscles fibers are present in dermis region. Now let us see the function of skin of Sculdon. So the skin perform what functions for Sculdon body? So it forms the external covering of the body and protects the body against infections and injuries. Secretion of the mucus from mucus gland makes the body slippery and protect the animal from its enemies. The skin and mucus secreted by its gland help the fish in regulating to some extent the osmotic exchange of the water. That means this skin and mucus, skin gland and mucus secreted by its gland help the fish in regulating the osmotic level of water and ions between the body fluid and surrounding medium. The derivatives of the skin play an important role in metabolic activities of the body and also provide protection to the body. Chromatophores of various kinds present in the dermis give beautiful color pattern to the body, and it communicates to the animal changes its surrounding by the means of receptors. So these are various functions of the skin. Now let us uh, have a short look on the scales, which are dermal scales, which are present as a form of exoskeleton over the body surface. So the scales, in case of Soldon, they are placoid type of scales. In most of the fishes, the skin is covered with an exoskeleton in the form of scales. In catfishes, there is no scale, but however, in most of the fishes, there are scales. In Scalodon, odontoid or placoid scales are present, which are shown in the diagram also. These are minute dermal denticles, or you can say outgrowths, which are arranged in regular oblique rows. They are beautifully arranged in regular oblique rows and forms the exoskeleton of the shark fishes. As in photograph also we can see, they are typically arranged in the form of diamonds alternately. Each placoid scale consists of two parts: a basal diamond shaped base plate and a flat triradiant spine. That means a basal plate which is horizontally flat and a triradiant which is vertically triradiant flat spine. The basal plate is embedded in the skin. The diamond shaped basal plate is embedded in the skin and it is firmly held by Sharpey's fiber and connective tissues which are present in the dermis. The center of the basal plate is perforated by an aperture known as opening of the pulp. That is also shown in the diagram, opening of the pulp cavity, through which the blood vessels and nerve from the dermis supply their branches to the scales. The basal plate is formed of a trabecular classified tissue closely allied to the cementum of mammalian tooth. As that of the mammalian tooth, uh, this basal plate also has the same structure. The triradiant spine, which is vertically present, the triradiant spine which projects out of the skin is backwardly directed and formed by one median, also seen in the diagram, one medial spine and two lateral spines. In structure, a placoid scale resembles to a tooth in case of most of the mammals. The spine has an external covering of enamel like hard transparent material called vitrodentine. It is followed by a layer of dentine encasing a pulp cavity from which several branching dentine canaliculi radiate in different directions. As in the diagram also, it has shown these are canaliculi, different radiant canaliculi, which are radiated in different directions. Pulp consists of odontoblast cells, blood vessels, and nerve fibers. So this is about the external features of Scoliodon. In next lecture, we will discuss about the digestive system of Scoliodon.